is such a topic that we doctors seldom prefer to discuss or think about. That is material management and Indian Railway hospitals. I will just give a brief overview of the theoretical part and simultaneously the problems we face in Indian Railway hospitals regarding material management. And lastly, I requested Dr. Subhashish Roy, who was kind enough that he will be saying something, the practical problems which he faces while procurement. So, first of all, what is material management? As per Charles C. Housley, it is the management and control of goods, services, equipments from acquisition to disposition. The primary aim is to achieve the maximum coordination amongst the departments and between the department and the administration so as to have optimum expenditure on materials. It should be neither too big or not too small. Though 30 to 40% of the hospital budget is spent on the purchase of stores, it has always remained a neglected area. In this connection, I would like to mention that the primary part, that is almost 50 to 60% of the hospital budget, is spent against payroll, that is to pay the employees. Next in line comes material management, inventory. However, of late it has become an important tool for cost reduction by use of several scientific techniques, which I will go on to discuss in the later slides. Now, what are the objectives of material management? Number one is to obtain the right price. Number two, we should aim for low procurement and storage cost. Procurement, there is a cost behind, and also storage also carries a cost with it. Thirdly, we should assure continuity of supply, that is to avoid stockouts. The fourth is the quality should be consistent. The fifth is high turnover. The more we use, the more we invent. Then next is we have to maintain good relationship with the suppliers so that in times of our need, they always come to help us out. And lastly, we have to have a sound information system. Information system regarding what? About the market price, about the quality of vendors. So we have to have a sound information regarding that aspect also. Now, what are the various functions of material management? Number one is material planning and budgeting. We have to plan out what materials we require, and as per that, we have to set our budget. Next comes the purchasing part. Purchasing is also a very long drawn, cumbersome process, and one should be aware of the rules. Next comes after purchasing, when the vendors send their materials, we have to receive them and also inspect them, whether they are in proper condition, whether they are as per the specifications. So we have to look into that. Next comes after inspection, we have to stock them, stocking, and then distribute them to the end users, that is departments. Next is the inventory control. Now, what is inventory and what is inventory control? I will gradually discuss in the later slides. Then the cost reduction is also a function of material management, and finally the disposal of the stock. So this is a cycle basically. On the top we are seeing the demand estimation and purchasing. Demand estimation means we are forecasting of demand. This is a subject of economics which we had to study in one of our subjects in part 2 in the second semester economics. So demand estimation and then purchasing. Then receiving and inspection, as I told earlier, and then follows the storage and distribution. After it is distributed, then again we have to go for estimation of demand and purchasing. As I told you earlier, I want to discuss about inventory. What is inventory? In simple words, inventory is the quantity of goods or materials on hand. That is what we call inventory. Now, what is the need for inventory control? Because inventories may lock up major proportion of the capital, which may be worth thousands of crores. So there should be every effort on our part to reduce the inventories to the minimum possible, but of course without affecting the normal hospital operations. We have to keep the inventories at an optimum level, neither too many neither too less. And the goal is hence the optimum investment in inventories. The types of inventory. Basically, there are two types of inventory. One is the official inventory, and the other is the unofficial inventory. The official inventory is what? Now, the one which is brought into a storage space, counted and controlled till it is disposed of. But prior to the disposal stage, that is official inventory. Once it is expended and dispensed, then it becomes unofficial inventory, where they are stored in the various departments for their eventual use. So, why inventory? In railway scenario, why inventory management? Because railways have very specific items which is not available off the shelf, and to purchase it, it requires a longer lead time. Lead time I will discuss. Basically, lead time is the duration of time between preparing an order and the receipt of materials. Number 2 point is items readily available, but frequent piecemeal purchases may not be economical. So, hence inventory. And due to variations in consumption and lead time, the demand forecasting may not be accurate. You may face stockouts, hence inventory. So the basic problem is inventory is an idle resource with economic value. It is blocking capital, but on the other hand, it is imperative to keep them also. Hence, to optimize the stock levels, this should be a primary target. Now, if we go on to analyze the basic problem further, we should concentrate on two aspects. Number one is when to order, and the second part is how much to order. So, there is need for investigation into three areas. One is the lead time. As I was discussing earlier, lead time is the time duration between preparing an order and the receipt of materials. Lead time are of two types. One is the internal lead time and the other is the external lead time. Internal lead time is the time between preparing an order and placing an order, and the external lead time is the time between placing an order and receipt of material. Next is the ordering cost, the cost incurred in placing an order. And the third is the inventory carrying cost, which includes interest, which includes the interest capitals, opportunity cost, obsolescence or depreciation cost, storage, handling or verification cost, and the insurance cost and the security costs involved. So all this together constitute the inventory carrying cost. Now these are the inventory control techniques. Selective control. Number one is the selective control. It is basically the items are categorized on certain bases like consumption, value, unit price, criticality. Then second is management by exception. We should keep a note on which are overstocked items and which are surplus items. So we should avoid purchasing them more frequently. And another principle is FIFO principle. First in, first out. Whatever comes in first should be out first. There are some selective inventory control methods. In brief, the methods are: one is the ABC analysis, the other is the VED analysis, then the third is FSN analysis, fourth is SDE analysis, and the fifth is HML analysis. These are the primary methods we follow in categorization of items. So ABC analysis is vital few, trivial many. It is based on the statistical Pareto principle, which says that the majority of activities, that is 70 to 80%, are governed by fewer attributes. Higher degree of attention is to be focused on this vital few. That is the A category items, that is which constitutes less than 10% of the items to be procured, but value-wise it is more than 70%. These items are to be ordered more frequently, but in less amount, that to reduce the blocked capital. Then the B category items are less than 20% of the items and more or less equal value. So the order quantities, reorder points and buffer stocks should be fixed. There should be fixed calendar, that is either once a year or twice a year. The reorder points, how much to order, the order quantities should be fixed. And the last comes the C category, which constitutes more than 70% items, but value-wise they are less than 10%. So liberal quantities of such items can always be kept, because it does not involve a blocking of substantial amount of capital. The next is VED classification, which is based on the service level. This is vital, essential and desirable. Vital items without which production will come to a halt. So this can be equated with the A group of the ABC classification. Then there is essential items without which temporary losses might occur. And next is desirable. These items are desirable, necessary but does not cause any immediate loss. The next type of next class is FSN analysis as per the usage rate, fast moving, slow moving and non moving. Then there is the SDE analysis, the scarce, difficult, easy. Here the scarce item can be equated with a group of the ABC analysis. Then there is HML analysis. The difference is that it is based on the unit value, not the annual consumption value. So H is unit value greater than 1000, M is unit value 100 to 1000, L is less than 100. Next we come to the matrix. I will prefer to skip this slide. This is a correlation between ABC and DD classification. Now this is important, economic order quantity. What is it? It is defined as the optimal quantity of orders that minimize the total variable costs required to order and hold inventory. Ordering cost is a cost, holding cost, so inventory holding cost is a cost. So we should order that much so as to minimize this total variable cost. This is the formula which I don't want to go into detail. Now how to use EOQ in an organization, economic order quantity. Basically, same thing, how much inventory and when to order. The principles behind EOQ is the holding cost. There are three types of holding cost. One is the interest which is carried along with the blocked capital. Then the second is the obsolescence. That means what we invent now and we keep it for a long time, then it might be out of fashion. It is not sellable in future. So we have to keep in mind that also. That is obsolescence. But that means that things get obsolete after a certain period of time, and if we purchase those quantities in higher amount, so we get a loss. And the third is the storage cost. That is the electricity, the manpower, the machinery involved in it. So EOQ is very important. We have to order optimally. And for that, the formula is there. So now I want to throw some light on the problem areas in Indian railway hospitals. Number one is lack of knowledge, especially for Indian preparation, which includes the specification, the suppliers, and the type of intent. Number two is lack of willingness to learn on the part of doctors. Yes, really, we doctors are so hard pressed for time in managing patients. Really, we are least willing to learn about these procedures. As I was telling, there is also lack of time with doctors. Then there is a lack of initiative, both at the divisional level and the health unit level. Basically, in health unit, we did not have an iota of idea what inventory is, what material management is, how an indent is done. Maybe we have done 1 or 2 classes at Railway Staff College, Baroda, but that is like that only. We usually did not get into it for that matter. And secondly, there is lack of initiative for augmenting the infrastructure in terms of MNP and TP items. Really, we are not interested to increase our assets. So that is also here. And then there is lack of rapport. Lack of rapport is very important. We doctors usually prefer to stay within our own group without bothering to coordinate with other departmental officers, which in the long run may prove very beneficial. If we maintain good rapport with the mechanical officers, the stores officers, the accounts officers, it does wonders in future. That's the next point is the inadequate chasing mechanism. Chase. This is the bottom line of railway. If we do not chase, the file वैसे ही पड़ा रहेगा. Then there is inadequate equipment maintenance base. We have inadequate equipment maintenance base, like in-house support. We do not have adequate in-house support. ANC support is also important. That has to be given a thought seriously. And most importantly, doctors are very uninterested, as if it is no one's baby. So, and moreover, there is delay in process of indents. Our stores department is at fault. Offers received after a couple of years after indent submission. And at that point of time, after 2 years, we do not require the product anymore. Now there are certain suggestions from my part. First, I will start with the system level. So, there should be a one-time holistic review to wipe out equipment deficiency. For example, Multiple bed ICU, we have only one ventilator. The opinion of the anesthetist may be helpful in this area. How many patients we get which require ventilator, then how many ventilators we should have in a multiple bed ICU. Then there is AMC problem. So this has to be taken into account. There is unsatisfactory response from the suppliers, and especially due to this is a very important thing, delay in making payment to AMC holders, because we are facing this problem regarding our fax machine and Xerox machine. So payment to the AMC holders should be very particular. Otherwise, why will they come? And delay in procurement of specific cases, we can always discuss with our CMS or CMD in the quarterly meeting as necessary. Then quarterly intents we do. We can do quarterly intents, especially equipments under revenue, other than MNP program. The revenue items can be indented quarterly. And TP items, special projects and other equipment, this can also be done quarterly. The knowledge of procedures is important for senior DMOs in charge of material management in hospitals as well as staff. I'll give you some examples. Due to lack of knowledge, one case has been returned without technical scrutiny, as only 4 of 7 offers. 4 of 7 offers were submitted with some samples. Then there was a demo demanded from one firm after opening of tenders. Incomplete description or specification is another one. Just due to lack of knowledge, we place incomplete specification. That has to be given thought to. Now regarding the specification or description, specification should be made elaborate and objective after due market research if necessary. No copying of specification, which we usually do. There is always a tendency to copy the specification of one from one division, but this should not be done. We should consider all aspects and make our specification parcels. Number 2 is warranty. The warranty procedure should be monitored closely, whether it is 30 or 24 months, whether it is firm's own warranty, whether it is return to factory or on-site warranty, and the performance bank guarantee. What is performance meaning? It's the amount which we keep deposited with ourselves in case of failure of the vendor to operate successfully. The normal maintenance spares for 2 years. Include this condition in the agreement itself. AMC. It should be a machine-based conscious decision. No AMC or preventive AMC, specified period. Comprehensive AMC, specified period. Clearly specifying the important obligations like maximum allowed downtime, modus operandi for spares procurement, number of preventive breakdowns or visits, how many number of preventive breakdowns visits the company will do. A penalty clause should be always included in case of failure. And lastly, timely payment is very crucial. Now, realistic assessment of rate, that is also important. We should not get carried away by finance pressure. We should give due allowance over the last purchase rate. 10% allowance may be given. We have to assess market rate if required. It may be more than 10%, it may be less than 7%, but we should be aware of the market rates. And we should include duties, service taxes, packaging, freight, all inclusive in the rate. Not that suppose 4.50 paise per large linen, and then we add on after calculating the entire thing, we add on a 13.5% service tax extra. That should not be done. That service tax should be included in the rate. Otherwise, if we PAC is proprietary article certificate. Here there is an example of PAC format. There are 3 clauses. Number 1 is no other make or brand will be suitable. Number 2 is this is the only firm which is manufacturing or stocking this item. And number 3 is a similar article is not manufactured or sold by any other firm which could be used in Europe. Now either A or C, either of it should be deleted. If C is deleted, then purchase power gets restricted to 2 lakh only, or else GM's approval is required. TC proceedings. Now, after the tender is opened and there is a formation of a tender committee, and usually it's a 3-member tender committee, and the proceedings should be always include that if the keeper offer is overlooked, you should cite reason. Then merits, demerits of each tender up to acceptable award, including suitability, and then the reasonableness and workability of rates, whether the rates are reasonable or workable. Then the credentials of the fund should be included in the TC recommendation. Mode of payment and transportation, that should also be included. And the warranty conditions, the bank guarantee in case of MLP equipments and the AMC. And negotiation only, as per CBC guidelines, negotiation should be done only with L1 tenderer. Now what is L1? This is as per CBC guidelines. L1 is lowest, it's a valid, it's an eligible, and it's a technical acceptable tender. So this is L1. Now some important points regarding spot purchase. Now spot purchase are meant for those items which are non-stock items, but we need them in times of emergency. So it's an emergency mode of purchase. It has no portal base, and it's a local procedure. The mode used for items where they are easily available in the market but urgently required, and difficult to draw complete specifications. Regarding spot purchase, we usually form a committee, spot purchase committee. Spot purchase committee is usually one from the user department, one from the accounts department, and the third member is from stores department. So prepare a demand, get a nomination of SPC. It should be not less than senior skill officers. Then the market survey should be done and preparation of survey report. Then chalking out specification as feasible, and then inquiry should be done, and finally the purchase should be made, and it should be done. The rule says that it should be done within 30 days of the committee formation, because to certify there is always the emergency factor included in it.
The time set as well.
Time set.
Time দেওয়া
So acceptance of short or excess supply, we can accept maximum 5% of the contract value, or rupees 1 lakh, or else we should contact the purchase officer. An order considered complete if quantity is supplied within 5% of the order quantity, or value within 1 lakh. Acceptance of delayed supply by consignment. Regarding these orders up to 1 lakh, the delivery period is 6 months. An order between 1 lakh to 2 lakh, it is 21 days more than 6 months. And orders exceeding 2 lakh, prior extension from order exceeding 2 lakh, prior extension from the purchase officer is required. Otherwise, it is not allowed. Now, regarding some points in condemnation and disposal, it's basically acquisition on replacement account. We should justify for the condemnation. Age cum condition. Only age may be sufficient if it is beyond economic repairs. And there is usually a standing survey committee, which is usually from the concerned department, one from the concerned department, one from the accounts, and one from either engineering or mechanical for condemnation of material. Then the condemned equipments can be uprooted and sent to scrap yard, or may be disposed of as is various basis. And the hospital should monitor and ensure to get correct amount of credits returned from scrap. So thank you for your patient hearing. Now, shall I request Dr. Raj kindly throw some light on the practical aspects of working cases, the difficult